So, UK media is owned by a very small group of white male billionaires. I think people being more selective and more critical in their thinking of what they read in the media, they can be more more persuaded by alternate arguments. People should be more discerning in the media they consume and not just believe the headlines.
In the UK, over 7 million papers are sold every day. This doesn't include the free papers given out, such as the Metro, with 1.3 million copies given out daily, and the Evening Standard, with 700,000. 5 billionaires own over 70% of the print media in this country. Rupert Murdoch owns one of the major media groups, News International, who own The Times, The Sunday Times and The Sun, as well as lots of other small publications. The Barclay brothers own The Telegraph. Richard Desmond owns The Express, and Lord Rothermere owns the Daily Mail. The Trinity Mirror is another major media group, who publish 240 regional papers including the Daily Mirror. These publications are destroying our hopes of any meaningful climate crisis action, all in the name of the corrupt, right-wing media billionaires. This is because the papers are writing in the interest of their sponsors. Murdoch, Rothermere and the Barclay brothers are all linked to oil. This means that the papers are less likely to report on the issue of climate change as it clashes with the interest of the owners. For example, Rupert Murdoch has invested in Genie Energy, an energy company who drill into the ground for gas using the dangerous fracking process. Occupy London were camping outside the Daily Mail headquarters in protest, so I decided to join them and see what it was all about.
The UN reports that 400,000 people are dying at the moment, so having an hour-long silent vigil of people holding candles in memory of those people brings across that we're talking about real people, real families. Their family members, kids have died this year, parents have died from climate change associated catastrophes. So having an hour-long silent vigil of people holding candles in memory of those people brings across that we're talking about real people. If we could get these 5 people on board, we solve it.
I think, the first part of the process in terms of aims is to get a dialogue going with people in power to promote accurate, truthful information about what really is going on with climate change. So that's certainly a big one. I mean, if you want to know personally, that's a more, I never talk about this very much because I always feel it's a little bit, I don't know if because you look quite young, but years and years ago there was a big thing about in France when it was really, really a big heat wave, 100,000 or whatever, a lot of people died, a lot of old people or sick people, yeah? And to be honest, I'm one of the people that could quite easily die like this summer, I had to stay indoors during the very hot days with my nebulizer. I'm an asthmatic, so, it's quite, it's serious.
I just thought it might be nice, as we've been silent for 3/4 an hour, if anybody wanted to say a couple of words or share something, or maybe why they're here, and we go around in a circle and just finish the process by doing that.
Science does not listen to political prejudices. It is what it is. And it is saying that we've got to change course.
I was just thinking, isn't it just so incredible that the whole world is at stake, the whole biosphere, all the animals, and yet we're like 20 people, and it's just like, my God, something has to happen. And very interesting times.
How do we change? I think it's very difficult for all of us. But by beginning to talk about it, by beginning to face it, by beginning to not to try to hide from it, that's somewhere to start.
I feel that was a very important thing to do, and I really appreciate all of you coming here to share that moment, and I hope that it will start a process that will end in very quickly these 5 people opening their hearts to the truth. We need to move them, and I really want the environmental movement, climate crisis movement, to really understand this message. It's one thing to have 20,000 people marching down Oxford Street or wherever, but we need to get to these 5 people. We have run out of time. People at home could actually just every day, maybe just spend 10 minutes, look at the Daily Mail or any of the other tabloid papers. If there's a climate issue there, or a cycling issue, or a motoring issue, put the message on.
say that what the climate is, what are you doing with climate? So they start hearing from the public that they're not acceptable what they're doing.
I find it disturbing that the papers aren't addressing climate issues to the extent that they should be. This is due to the fact that the owners of the publications are directly contributing towards the problem. The media have the power to inform the public and create something amazing. Take the Syrian boy for example. David Cameron didn't do anything about the refugee crisis, but as soon as the photo went viral, everyone kicked up a fuss. Even the public set up a petition which was signed by 230,000 of us. In turn, our government decided to take 20,000 refugees in. Although they haven't raised the bar since, it's a good example of how powerful the media can be, and I think they should use that power to do some good.